Welcome to day 21 of the Match World Cup video blog in association with Chewies. Now, as you probably saw yesterday, there's no football going on, nothing at all the teams are having a rest for a couple of days. And because of that, I'm taking this opportunity to look at all of the 8 remaining quarter-finalists and run through their strengths and weaknesses and to see who really is in the best shape to go on and win this World Cup. So, yesterday, if you didn't see this, refer back to blog 20, watch that because all the news is on there and all of my opinion on the strengths and weaknesses. But yesterday, I spoke about Uruguay, Ghana, Germany, Argentina, and that leaves today Holland, Brazil, Spain and Paraguay as the teams to have a look at. So, I'm going to get started. Holland's the first team. They won Group E, of course, and they went through in the second round and they beat Slovakia. And they've got a 100% record, it's all wins for them so far. They've been fantastic. I think their biggest strength is their midfield. Fantastic individuals, awesome players. They've got a really strong, solid base unit there because they have De Jong or Van Bommel, or even both of them sitting, and that allows everybody else in the midfield and the attack to get forward. And the individuals they've got there, the players, are awesome. Arjen Robben, who likes to sit on the right wing, or sometimes on the left, cut inside and support the attack. He's coming back to fitness. You've got Wesley Sneijder, of course he's got the awesome passing and the great shots from distance. And you've got Rafael van der Vaart as well. A very similar player to Sneijder, but with a bit more movement, a bit more pace. Fantastic players. And they've also got Elia coming off the bench, this young wonder winger who's making a real difference for them. So the options they've got there are absolutely quality, and I reckon they've got the best midfielders in the whole of the tournament. Their weakness, and it's a long-term weakness for Holland, is the fact that when they get into the knockout stages of tournaments, historically over the years, they've fallen apart. They doesn't seem to mentally be strong enough to be able to handle the knockout stages. And of course they've got past Slovakia here, they're into the quarterfinals, but the question is, can they manage to keep that together and keep strong? I spoke to Johnny Heitinga earlier in the tournament, the Holland centre-back, and he agreed that historically they've fallen apart at these stages and they need to be stronger and really, really believe. And if they do that, you never know, because that's their only real weakness. Okay, the next team to look at is Brazil. Of course, they won Group G, and they've come into this tournament as one of the 2 favourites, really. Brazil and Spain, where everyone was talking about. So they're really, really strong, and they got through Group G pretty easily, and they're now into the quarterfinals. The funny thing with Brazil is, historically, the defence has been their weakness, but I reckon at this tournament, the defence is their biggest strength. 2 centre-backs, they've got Lucio and João, and those 2 are fantastic players, all round, on the floor. They like to physically get in the faces of players, really strong, great in the tackle, and they're really, really strong and really good in the air as well. So it's fantastic 2 centre-halves to have. At right back, you've got possibly the world's best right back at the moment in Maicon, and at left back you've got Michel Bastos. They're great to get forward, but they're also very good in defence as well. So the defence is really strong. And what's even better for them is that if any player manages to get past them, they've got one of the world's best keepers in Julio César sitting beside them. And so, I mean, the defence looks really, really tough to beat. The big weakness for me with Brazil, it's not any individual sections of the team really, although the midfield isn't that remarkable. The big weakness is the fact that the people back home, the press in Brazil and the fans, they don't much like Dunga. Dunga's not very popular. He's the manager, of course, and he's got a very defensive mind. He used to be a defensive midfielder for Brazil back in the 1994 World Cup. He was there as a key defensive midfielder for them, playing the Gilberto Silva role. And they don't like him because he's so defensive. He doesn't really encourage the players to go in for all the tricks and all that kind of thing. He likes to have a really solid defence, which he's managed to build up. But because of that, and because of it not being the Brazil way, the fans aren't too sure. If the fans get behind him, and the media too, then they look almost unbeatable. But if fans keep getting on his back and applying the pressure, that could start to filter through to the players. So they've got to watch out for that. Okay, Spain, the next team to look at. Of course, they won Group H. It looked a little bit in doubt to start with because of their bad start against Switzerland, but they came through and won it, and they've looked really good ever since. They're getting better all the time, I reckon. And of course, we all know what their biggest strength is. Their squad is probably the best in the whole of the tournament. I think they've got better players throughout their 23 men than anybody else out there. I think a lot of their players who aren't getting in the team at the moment, people like Jesus Navas and Fabregas, I mean, and Torres isn't guaranteed a starting place. Iniesta has been benched a few times. These players would walk into other teams in the tournament, other teams in the last 8. Absolutely fantastic players. As I say, individually, their players, I reckon, are the best out there. People, look at their midfield, you've got people like Xavi, Iniesta, Xabi Alonso. I mean, these are absolutely amazing players. Great passing, great movement, another one of their big strengths. And then up front, of course, you've got David Villa, one of the world's best strikers, in my opinion, the world's best striker. And you've got Torres as well. You've got the world's best keeper in Iker Casillas. Maybe a bit of a rival to Buffon for that one, but I reckon at the moment, he's pretty much there as the best. So, I mean, incredible individuals throughout the team. The weakness at Spain at the moment, I'd say, is the fact that they haven't really hit top form yet, and maybe that's because of the pressure. There's a lot of pressure from back home in Spain, and also from around Europe, because everyone's been talking about this squad being the best out there. Everyone expects them to win it. So can they handle that pressure? They didn't look like they could against Switzerland. The pressure was on them and they struggled. But since then, they've stepped it up. And if they can keep that up, maybe they can be unbeatable and go on to win this tournament. Okay, the final team to look at is Paraguay. They won Group F, and that surprised a few people because Italy were in there. But they've done that, and they've done that through their main strength, and that's organisation. They've got really, really disciplined players who know exactly what their job is, and they do them, and they do them to the letter. You know, they work really hard at that. Whenever a couple of the wingers go forward, a midfielder draws back to cover the space, or maybe even a striker fills in, and they really, really work hard for each other. I think they've got fantastic strikers as well. You've got Lucas Barrios up front, who's the third highest goal scorer in the Bundesliga last season, and he's a really, really good player. Likes to take the shots early, and he's always sniffing around for danger. And then you've got Cardozo, and you've got Santa Cruz as well, who don't always start, don't get on the pitch quite often, but those two are very decent strikers at this level, and they're very dangerous, really good in the air, good technical ability, can score from set pieces, can score from all over the place. So they've got really good options there. The weakness is probably their experience. Now, a lot of their players, like Santa Cruz, have played at all sorts of levels, big games. However, the big question stands, can these guys play it at this level at the World Cup? They've never been to this kind of stage before, so that's a pressure on them, and the question is their lack of experience going to hold them back? We'll have to wait and see. Alright, after that full roundup, it's time to see what you guys think. So I reckon you should be getting on the message boards, on the Match website, and also on the Chewits Facebook page and the Match Facebook page, and having a bit of a chat. Tell us what you think the strengths and weaknesses are. Is there anything I've missed? I don't think there is, but there are always little extra bits here and there which are strengths and weaknesses which are well worth talking about. So get on the sites and tell us about that. After looking at all those teams, the 4 teams yesterday on the blog and the 4 teams today, I reckon that Spain are still the favourites. They might not have played the best out of all the teams so far, I'd say that's Argentina, but I think when it comes to the pressure, Spain are the team to beat. So let's watch out and see. I reckon that it's really any one of maybe 4 or 5 teams, Brazil, Argentina, Germany, even Holland, if they hold it together, could win this tournament. But Spain, I reckon, are the favourites. So, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Some big games coming up. That's the end of my Match World Cup video blog in association with Chewits for today. And tomorrow, all of the match action, everything from the first round of the quarter-final matches. So there are the games for Uruguay against Ghana, and then there's the massive match, the massive game, Brazil against Holland. And I'll bring you all of the news from that, all the feedback, and all of the interaction with the players in the blog tomorrow. So I'll see you then.